The fun part. No, how am I introing this? I wanted to mention stuff, but I don't think I want to.
I think that maybe you could intro it just saying that we wanted to come into the middle of things. Like we want to. I feel like there's a lot on both sides of stuff. Like there's the lawless side, and then there's a side that's getting like super legalistic, and that we need to kind of focus on our wilderness journey, and like it's going to be hard, and that yes, these things are a sign, and yes, they're commandments that we're supposed to do, and this is our seal, and this is how we are protected, and under His wing by keeping these things, but at the same time, we need to recognize that we are all at different places in the journey and that we need to have grace and mercy for ourselves and each other. And that the depression comes with this walk in ministry, and that there needs to be like a support rather than like so much like people screaming at each other, like repent, repent, fix this, but like this is what this might, could look like, and it's okay to focus on one change at a time type thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because like I think that wilderness journey kind of shows us that they were working on different issues as they were journeying through the wilderness, and they were learning lessons from their issues that they had in each wilderness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And thanks for the intro, by the way. No, I mean, hey, I'm already recording. I'm going to totally cut that up. No. But no, honestly, yeah, just because I think everybody's seen it. Because we are in the middle of the 40-day fast. What day are we on at that point?
I'm not sure. But
I don't even know where we're at. It's pretty bad. I know October 5th is the day that we're done. So what's today? September 19th? We're what, like halfway through? I don't feel like doing math. Probably not.
yeah, I know.
But definitely in the middle of the 40-day wilderness, and definitely a lot of people experiencing a lot of pretty bad stuff, which actually it usually starts before that, is what we were reading about before. But yeah, I think everyone's been dealing with stuff even before the 40 days started. So
yeah, I think
all different types of wildernesses for sure. That's why we were going to go over the wildernesses in the end. But
we have the 40 days they were waiting for Moses,
mm-hmm.
and then the 40 days after, once they received the commandments. So it was like they were it's almost like a picture of what's happening now. Like we don't fully have an understanding on all of the commandments and how we were supposed to do it, no matter who in the Hebrew roots or Torah observant movement tries to think they have the right name, the right right way they're wearing their tzitzits, or all those little details. Like we don't know what is exactly right or how we should be doing all of these things. And I think that a lot of people are just diving into the traditions without checking the traditions that they're doing and the way they're doing things first. So it's like we really don't have these commandments yet, and we might be sliding into a place where we're still making our own feast, even though we are doing the feast. We might still be kind of doing what Aaron and the others did.
And of course,
still kind of that side of things.
It's all gonna get restored eventually anyway. So once he does come back, like he's gonna fix it all up anyway. So we'll know.
Yeah.
He'll set it all back in order, and we'll be going along with that. So for now, we're just doing everything we can to try. But the point is, you try, and at the very least, we're going to go over these verses on the feast so that you see how important they are. But
and this is a journey and learning lessons throughout the way, and don't be afraid to question and like make changes in some of the things you're doing as you're coming into obeying the feast. Because I think sometimes we try to learn from the Jewish traditions, and then we take on a lot of those traditions, and then we have to slowly kind of get rid of some of those to make sure we stay in the middle, because there's other traditions that are added on that are like, yeah, so it's really like a back and forth journey, trying to make sure you get it right and not adding, not taking away, and still honoring the Messiah.
Yeah. Best way to do that by reading. Yeah, I was going to say, best way to do that is let's get to the reading. So, we have a lot of verses. We've got Exodus, Leviticus, Nehemiah, Ezekiel, whatever, but we're going to mostly just go over the verses, and then there are some that we'll go over a little more that I've got some word searches too that we went over to kind of give you a picture of, yeah. Let's get into this. So in Exodus 31, I'm going to do 31:12 through 18 here. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep. For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. And then ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people." Thanks for the bruises, right? 6 days may work be done, but in the Sabbath is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It's a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested, he was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end to communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of God. In this particular one, so my Sabbaths, this particular one is, I guess, I don't know, Shabbat. That one is, it's a little bit different, so I'm going to let this actually.
Strong's H7676. Shabbath. Shabbath.
I say, because I was going to slaughter that, because it's slightly different than Sabbath or Shabbat. But, so Sabbath, Day of Atonement, Sabbath year, week, produce and Sabbath year. You go down to Strong's, you'll see listings of like 15th day of month, so-called. So this particular Sabbath can refer to multiple Sabbaths. And then, of course, it did bring up the 7th-day Sabbath in this verse, but we're going to go over some other verses that point out the other Sabbaths. So, like Leviticus 23. I don't necessarily want to read the whole thing because I want to try to make this fairly quick, as quick as we can. But in here we do, in the first few verses, you see these 7 days. So speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. And the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And in the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. So Leviticus 23 breaks down the feasts that we're supposed to be following, and it includes both the 7th day and all the holy convocation days, all of these feasts that are this, well, yeah. Feast of the Lord, holy convocation. Let's see. Where is the, I want to see this one. Concerning, yep. One of these is going to have the word I want, but I do have the word up later if I can't find it. Yeah, so it is in this one, in Leviticus 23. So this one's not plural. This one's moed, not moedim. I have a hard time finding moedim, but it's in there somewhere. But either way, moed is also still appointed place, appointed time, meeting, a couple more appointed times. Sacred season, set feast, appointed season, appointed meeting, appointed place, appointed sign or signal, tent of meeting. So when it talks about feasts and holy convocations, it's literally talking about a set apart, appointed time that you are supposed to be meeting as Yehova is meeting, because he does these. Yehoshua did these. These are set apart times that you're supposed to meet for. So it's not just, when you're talking about the Sabbath, it's not just a 7-day Sabbath. It's those. So most of this is already known, but I just wanted to retouch this because of the issues that people are having, and I know that some people are starting to recognize issues.
Yeah. I think one thing that we need to say too is that oh my god, I completely lost what I was gonna say. I'm
Along the
if I
lines of, it's an
remember.
appointed meeting time? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, but
You're gonna have to
I
cut
was
that
just
out.
going
If
to
I
say,
remember-
there's a lot of people that are starting to recognize that this is important, but they're not really quite ready to follow through with it. And it's,
I remember what I was gonna say. A lot of people will say that we can't do these feasts because of the temple, or we're supposed to travel to the temple to do this feast. But the thing is like our body is the temple, so we need to be doing them wherever we're at.
right.
And there's parts where it says how to do them, kind of some of them, if you're not.
Eh. Did I lose you? Oh, you're there, right? Still? Okay, cool. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Some for a minute,
Do what?
but I'm not sure what happened. I think we cut out for a minute.
Yeah, we did. I thought I was looking for the Zoom meeting. I couldn't find it. I was like, um, but yeah, no, I just think it's important to retouch on these and just show you where it actually is in the Bible, just because I know that the lack of full surrender is gonna make things a lot harder in the wilderness.
Yeah.
So this is your covering. This is what helps you be protected, to show who you're willing to surrender fully to. Like you can't hold on to anything of this world. You gotta go. We gotta let go, and you gotta give in. But I know that a lot of people are definitely hearing the Spirit calling, but it's really hard for them to focus and listen, and Satan's definitely going after a lot of people to keep them from being able to focus and learn and be able to listen. But all right, so let's continue in. We have Nehemiah 9:14. Let me see what's around this. Yeah, and made known unto them the holy Sabbath, and commandest them precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant. So that's just more mentions of the statutes and the Sabbaths. Moreover, I also gave them my Sabbaths. So this is Ezekiel 20:12. I want to see the particular. So this is the other one that is Sabbath, Day of Atonement, Sabbath year, week, and then produce and Sabbath year. So in Ezekiel.
Yeah, and I think that this is like the important part of these verses. This, and then I believe it's Exodus 31:13 that says that they might know that
Yeah.
I am the Lord. That's how we know, like that verse and Matthew.
It's a sign between me and them that they know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. Like that's that's your solid knowledge that you're safe.
No, it's how you know him. And then I don't think that those who don't know him are necessarily going to hell. I think that's like the one class. I think that's the furnace. That's that purification that is going to happen in these coming months and years, because they're not doing the things that are how we know them. You know what I mean? So that purification process is going to be a lot harder on them.
Yeah. But I do actually want to read a little bit further on this one, because I was looking at that. Let's actually just keep reading this. But the house of Israel, so Exodus 20:12 again, we're going to continue on. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness, right? They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them, and my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths. For their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, mine eye spared them from destroying them. right? Neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am the Lord your God. Walk in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them. And hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. And that second point right there, reiterating the first, pretty much makes it very clear what he's trying to say to you is extremely important. Not to mention, what happened then is nothing new under the sun. It's happening again, and people are doing this. They're messing with his Sabbaths. They're polluting them. So, I mean, that right there is a straight up message. That's what happened. That's what will happen again. But there is, like he said, mine eye spared them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. We do not believe, like you said, they're going to hell. But there might be things that you're going to have to deal with and go through, and you may not necessarily be able to enter the gates of New Jerusalem if you get stuck on the outside with all the rest of the people that are outside in the nations, as Revelation says. So I think that's pretty cool. That actually goes right along with Revelation. Everything's pretty much a shadow and everything's a repeat. So, but we have, let's see, 44:24, Ezekiel 44:24. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. So that's, yeah, basically reiterating the previous. So Ezekiel 20. Oh, that's the ordinance for the Levites in that one. See, that's the other thing too, is a lot of people, there's ordinances for different people. The Levites here, I guess, has their stuff pointed out here, but we're not Levites, so we wouldn't do those particular things. Leviticus 20, what is it at? 28? Yeah, just simply, and ye shall keep my statutes and do them. I am the Lord which sanctify you. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and be ye holy, for I am the Lord your God. Let's see. Ezekiel 37, yes, the Davidic kingdom. So in Ezekiel 37:24 through 28, it says, and David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. They shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. It's a very prophetic picture here, with you see this forevermore wording. But this is not only talking about David. We also know that Yehoshua, well, David was a shadow of Yehoshua. Like, there were many shadows. And, whole Old Testament's full of them. But this particular section here is talking about an everlasting kingdom that's going to be set up with Yehoshua reigning over it. And they will walk in the statutes and judgments. They will observe and do them. And on top of that, just like in Revelation, was it 22, I think, the last one, where it talks about the heathen being on the outside of New Jerusalem still in the end. Where is it? And set my sanctuary in the midst of them. Where'd it go? And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify, because my sanctuary will be in the midst of them forevermore. My sanctuary is going to be in the midst of the heathen forevermore. That is a everlasting prophecy right there. So, just some more things to kind of correct, hopefully get your mind in the right mindset of what exactly we're going into, what we're dealing with right now, and what we're getting ready to walk into, and why it's so important that we have these feasts. So the next one I have now, I've got a word search on a sign, because I just thought it would be interesting to kind of go through them and show you some of them. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm going to cover some of them. So Exodus 13:9, And it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thine hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes. So forehead and hand, that the Lord's law may be in thy mouth, for with a strong hand hath the Lord brought thee out of Egypt. And then Exodus 31:13, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord, I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. 31:17, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. Don't need that. Therefore they are hollow. That's a different one. It's not feast related, I don't think. So there are some signs. Yeah, a lot of times when he did miraculous works, they called it a sign, because obviously a miraculous work, especially when you have to walk by a pile of dead bodies, that's a pretty good sign and reminder. Why not to act like those people that he just murdered? Yeah. Deuteronomy 6:8, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. Deuteronomy 6:8. I'm going to go to that real quick. Yeah, so so 6:2 is that. Oh, let's go to 1. Let's see. Yeah, now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it. So all the statutes and commands and stuff, and then it's just reiterating the fact that those statutes, commands, which in other verses we saw feasts were included, are for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. Deuteronomy 11:18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. I just think it's interesting that, like, the sign, quote unquote, sign / mark, as you research it, it's the exact same. Talks about your hand and your forehead, exact same as the mark of the beast. So, trying to find some that are actually. Oh, here's a good one. So in Isaiah 7:14, I like this one just because I like to bring it up for Jews mostly that don't believe in Messiah. But this is a good one. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. But I believe, really quick, because I'm the kind of person that gets distracted easily, I believe it was, I don't know if that's the right word. I'll have to look it up, because I remember it was young, but the way that they pointed it out was, yeah, definitely young and not having had sex, but, so it's definitely virgin, but they try to argue sometimes that it's just a young woman. I'm like, well, where did I leave off? I think I lost I just totally closed my box with signs. But that's cool. Most of that was just me. I wanted to just show you the signs that are associated with the feast, which are mostly in the beginning few books anyway. This one, that's Moed. I don't need that. That was me trying to get the plural, but I couldn't find it. So moving on, we're going to look and try to go over some of this today, but it's going to be too much. But if you go to Numbers 33, Numbers 33 tells us all about the different wildernesses they went in. So if you go through, you'll see they removed from Ramesses, which is Egypt, and pitched in Sukkoth, which is like the sukkah, the tabernacle. And then it shows you all these different places they went. One of the easiest ones to notice is Wilderness of Sin. But some of these are obvious. Some of these are names that you can look up and kind of learn like what type of wilderness they went through. And then you can look at what story they went through. Because this is actually a breakdown of Numbers. So you could take these different spots and probably actually go back. I don't know about every single one of them. But there are stories in some of these different places about things that they went through. So each of these wildernesses is like a different type of wilderness that someone goes through. And you can have different lessons So everyone's going through obviously something right now, but everyone's going through something a little bit different, and everyone's on a different stage of their journey and things that they're learning and how much they know and how much they're willing to kind of follow and not. And each of these has a little bit of a different.
My headphones is not working.
Right button? Yeah, we're starting. Okay, yeah. So definitely got distracted. No idea what I was just saying. Definitely the lessons. Essentially, basically, yes. They're different lessons. We are gonna go over at some point and do videos, or do a video, sit down, go through all of them, and try to look at them and their different meanings and break it apart. But that's, with how much there is, it's going to be a lot. So we're not going to do this video, but I did want to let you know that that's there. That's certainly something you can look in yourselves, because they went on quite the journey. They picked up a lot of people in the different places that they went. So there were definitely foreigners as well. So, and the statutes and everything were for the foreigners among them as well. So there's a lot to be learned from that. So definitely wanted to...
And that too, that like as long as we are traveling through the wilderness, like we're in a place for a reason, and the reason might be that you're in that wilderness for that lesson, but so that you can meet with specific people to kind of bring them in. You know what I mean?
Right. For sure, because that's actually what they slaughtered a good portion of them, but there were those in the towns that did end up making it, and they joined them. So, but that's I just wanted to bring that up, that was pretty much there. But then the other thing is kind of recognizing that wilderness and recognizing the struggles of going through that, and then recognizing the human side of some of these prophets and some of these righteous men in the Bible. So we've got some to kind of end this topic off with. We wanted to look over at, well, you got Jonah, Elijah, but I believe we're looking at Jeremiah. We got some Lamentations. But I'm just going to read this article a little bit, and then I'm going to read a little bit in Lamentations and Jeremiah. So, article's called Jeremiah's Depression is Real. So it says, prophecy can be hard. We discussed Jonah and Elijah this week and noted their reluctance and loneliness. And my OCD is going to check my recording. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Sorry. I'm terrible. All right. So most of the time, the people you are exhorting as a prophet are your friends and peers. After a season of this, you might just end up suffering from depression like Jeremiah. Jeremiah wrote Lamentations, and he is sometimes called the weeping prophet. Feel his sadness in these verses, and then I'll read all those for you here in a minute. But Jeremiah's righteousness sustained him. He claimed that the kingdom's peace wasn't true peace from God, but that one that was maintaining the norm too much, a peace that was more the result of sedation because it didn't speak conflict directly and explicitly. It didn't work towards solutions. It rather just dumbed down what was going on in order to maintain some false sense of peace. He explicitly called out the destruction of Judah and Jerusalem and was proven correctly when Nebuchadnezzar conquered those nations. Jeremiah also explicitly called out other prophets, declaring them as false prophets that were catering to the powers that be. Further isolating himself, he spoke explicitly about the crumbling nation of Israel. For following God ferociously, Jeremiah was attacked by his own brothers, beaten up by a priest and a false prophet, imprisoned by the king, threatened with death, thrown into a cistern by government officials, and opposed by a false prophet. This variety of prophecy is really challenging because it involves a blind following of God. You keep preparing the path, the way of the Lord, and everyone around you says that you are crazy, and they put you in jail and try to kill you. Even your own community and people and nation all think you are out of your mind. You're one of billions of people. You're one of billions of people. This person needs to be a little better with their English. Even I know that, and I'm terrible at English. But that's okay. So you're one of billions of people, and odds are you are wrong, but God helps you defy those odds. Note how he praises God just a few verses later in Lamentations. Jeremiah finds his hope alone in God. In this materialistic season, the phrase that Jeremiah utters, "The Lord is my portion," is what sustains him when all else has failed. And it doesn't immediately sustain him. He is waiting for him to show up. He is waiting for the Savior to be born, just like we are. Sort of. What? Anyway. Not to be born, but okay. I don't know what it's saying there. Jeremiah's prayer is an antidote for Americans who seem to endlessly have their plate refilled. Jeremiah knows that nothing but God will satisfy him, and he declares that until it nearly does him in, he declares that until it nearly does him in, okay. And his prayer is our Advent prayer. Jesus filled these prophets up, and they prepared to reveal him to the entire world. That's the thing we are doing in this Advent. The prophets declared the truth, but did so in a way that was less about themselves and more about changing the world. Yeah, okay. I'm cool on the rest of that. Essentially, point just bringing up that all those things that went through, yes, Jeremiah was a depressed man. There were multiple depressed individuals. So 3, I think. I don't know. I kind of want to start in the beginning of Lamentations 3, to be honest. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I was going to start later on, but I want you to see the beginning part of this. So we're going to do Lamentations 3, starting in the beginning, verse 1. So, I am the man that hath seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He hath led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. My flesh and my skin hath he made old. He hath broken my bones. He hath builded against me, and compassed me with gall and travail. He hath set me in dark places, as they that be dead of old. He hath hedged me about, that I cannot get out. He hath made my chain heavy. Also, when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my paths crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He hath turned aside my ways, and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. He hath bent his bow, and set me as a mark for the arrow. He hath caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. I was a derision to all my people, and their song all the day. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. He hath also broken my teeth with gravel stones. He hath covered me with ashes. And thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgot prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. So quite the picture that he's painting to make it very clear how he's feeling and all the stuff that's going on in his life. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. But I gotta say, I feel like his experiences were worse than what we've gotten to at this point so far. I do believe it'll keep getting worse, but maybe we can use this to kind of look forward as we read further. When we do get to even the worst parts.
I don't know if you pulled up any verses about Elijah, and I don't know what verses they're in. Maybe we can find them and put them on the screen later if we don't have them. But I know that Elijah was depressed, and when he was depressed, the angel came and gave him a snack, and he took a nap, right?
Yep.
And we're supposed to look at the stuff, like literally, yeah. If we're depressed, if we're dealing with the stuff that gets heavy, we should stop and take an actual nap and eat something. But we should also kind of like pause from ministry and pause from like what we're doing and take a break for a while. Like everybody gets depressed, and when you're in that depressed season with your ministry and prophecy and all that, you have to just take a step back, kind of like how we did last week. We didn't post anything. We didn't do anything because we were kind of like dealing with all the things happening.
Yeah.
So, like, just take a break sometimes and get through it and feed on the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and that is what usually that's what eat is referred to as like reading the word.
And yeah, like taking a nap and having a literal snack will help you, but like even more so take a break and really like focus on meditating and reading the word,
Yep.
meditating on the word. I should be more specific. Sorry.
Right. All right, so then we're going to move on to his next section here. So this starts in Lamentations 3:19. So remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, my soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone and keepeth silence, because he hath borne it upon him. He putteth his mouth in the dust, if so be there may be hope. Wow, that's weird. If so, be there may be hope. If so be, there may be hope. Okay, there we go. I love the way these are worded sometimes. So he giveth his cheek to him that smiteth him. So that's turn the other cheek. I guess that's where that one comes from. Lamentations. He is filled full with reproach. For the Lord will not cast off forever. But though he cause grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his mercies. For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause, the Lord approveth not. Who is he that saith, and it come to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? Out of the mouth of the Most High proceedeth not evil and good? That's a question. Okay. Wherefore doth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins? Let us search and try our ways, and turn again to the Lord. Let us lift up our heart with our hands unto God in the heavens. We have transgressed and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with anger and persecuted us. Thou hast slain, thou hast not pitied. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refuse in the midst of the people. All our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and a snare is come upon us, desolation and destruction. Mine eye runneth down with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mine eye trickleth down and ceaseth not without any intermission, till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye affecteth mine heart because of all the daughters of my city. Mine enemies chase me sore like a bird without cause. They have cut off my tongue in the dungeon, and cast a stone upon me. Waters flowed over mine head, then I said, I am cut off. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thine ear at my breathing, at my cry. Thou drawest near in the day that I called upon thee. Thou saidst, fear not. O Lord, thou hast pleaded the causes of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. O Lord, thou hast seen my wrong. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen all their vengeance and all their imaginations against me. Thou hast heard their reproach, O Lord, and all their imaginations against me. The lips of those that rose up against me, and their device against me all the day. Behold their sitting down and their rising up. I am their music. Render unto them a recompense, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. Give them sorrow of heart, thy curse unto them. Persecute and destroy them in anger from under the heavens of the Lord. So, obviously we have a man that's recognizing Actually, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to show you one other verse. Let me see if I can find it super quick. It should be easy. But he's obviously crying over the sins of the world, basically. So Mark, maybe if I say a Mark. Right here. So Ezekiel 9:4. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So it's, I gotta say, for the majority of my life, I dealt with depression. To this day, I probably still have depression, but I've kind of come to the point where I look back at, sorry, I'm going to try not to cry through this. I look back at why was I depressed? It was because everywhere I looked, what did I see? So I know a lot of people that are going through a lot, and they see a lot of bad things going on, and especially going on right now, we don't exactly know where to turn. But your sorrow is basically a sign. Your sighing and your crying is going to get you marked, which is a good thing. So it's been really weird for me to kind of learn to realize, you know what? Like, the reason I was sorrowful was a very good reason. Like, where is it? Let's see. Jeremiah's Lamentations. So that is what these guys go through. This is what they do. They see the world and they're sorrowful and they go through depression.
If you're not depressed and sad about what you see in the world right now and you can see it, then there's something, your heart isn't right.
Exactly.
And there's something with you. Then you're still not, you could be doing all of the things, but if you are celebrating all that, this, like, looking at people and mocking them and laughing at them as they're, like, perishing and whatever, there's something wrong with your heart at that point. And I can see that in some people sometimes, and it's... Yeah. It's like heartbreaking because it's like, oh, some people can see everything that's going on and they are, you know, they got all their boxes checked and they're doing great, but there's just something off about the heart posture that.
Yeah. I know there was some verses somewhere talking about it, like wishing and hoping for like the end of, like, yeah, I mean, to the extent we want the kingdom to come, but you're not supposed to want everyone around you, your brothers and sisters that should hopefully turn and do the right thing. You don't want to see them die.
My husband asked me, he's like, how do you know everything that's coming? You're ready for it. It's scripture. We're supposed to know, like, this means, you know, whatever. You're supposed to be happy about it. He's like, why are you crying? I'm like, the scripture says I would be. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
No.
Right, because every example that we're supposed to be taking from is doing exactly that. Every single one of them is sorrowful over the things that are going on in the world, and I hate that it's gotten to the point that unfortunately destruction is going to fall upon everyone, which is what he asked for in the end here. Obviously, yes, he did ask for it. See right here, render unto them a recompense and give them sorrow of heart and curse them, persecute and destroy them in anger from under the heavens of the Lord. He's asking for that, but how is his heart in the midst of him asking for that?
Exactly. And that's the thing is he's like, it just shows you how real it is, because we all get to that point where we're like, what's going on? You know, like,
right.
Just something in there. It's like he's screaming out to him. But, yeah, it's okay to be there. It is just like, to be there and get through it, you know, and know that in the end it's going to be better, but there's a time where everybody is kind of supposed to be depressed, I guess.
But I do have one more that I want to read over, and then we can kind of talk and finish up, because it's almost the end, but this is my last one here, I think. Because that was a second search. So I'm going to read Jeremiah 15, Jeremiah, what is this? My brain. Yeah, Jeremiah 15 verses 15 through 21. So it's Jeremiah's prayer and God's answer. O Lord, thou knowest, remember me and visit me and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering. Know that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of mine heart. For I am called by thy name, O Lord God of hosts. I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation. Why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable, which refuseth to be healed? Wilt thou be altogether unto me as a liar and as waters that fail? Therefore, thus saith the Lord, if thou return, then will I bring thee again. And thou shalt stand before me, and if thou take forth the precious from the vial, thou shalt be as my mouth. Let them return unto thee, but return not thou unto them. And I will make thee unto this people a fenced brazen wall, and they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. For I am with thee to save thee and to deliver thee, saith the Lord. And I will deliver thee out of the hand of the wicked, and I will redeem thee out of the hand of the terrible. The thing I like about this is just the recognizing how many people are going to lose the people that they love. Everyone around you is going to mock you, and you are at some point going to become alone, whether that be, or with some people, your families that are doing it are going to be alone together. I mean, they'll have husbands and wives together that'll struggle together, and they'll both be attacked quite harshly, and they'll become attacks after them. I mean, regardless, compared to the rest of the world, you are going to be alone, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to reject you and leave you because of this. That's part of it, unfortunately. But what is he going to do? He is going to answer our prayers, and if we stand steadfast in what we believe and we do what we're supposed to do and we follow these feasts, as hard as it is to watch everybody do this to us like they did to everybody else and just like they did to our Messiah, it's going to be worth it. There is a reward. So recognize that your sorrow just means that you're a good person. And know that eventually there is hope. There's something coming for us. But like these guys, like Jeremiah, Elijah, everyone else, they had hope. They had hope, and they stood steadfast, and they just stuck with it because they knew that eventually he would come. And eventually, of course, Yehoshua did come, and he is coming again. So we have that to look forward to. That's something that you need to hold on to, and don't let Satan take that from you. That's exactly what he's trying to do. That's exactly what he wants to do. He's going to ruin your life the best he can with everybody else's free will to try to keep you from this right here. So, that was my thing. That's why I like this whole section here. But there's a lot of that in there, and there's multiple prophets that you can go and look at, because all the prophets went through quite a bit, and they all had struggles and different ways of overcoming. So there's a lesson everywhere, but definitely in the wilderness, and definitely everyone's going through their own. But we can go back to remembering what makes us his, for sure. So Ezekiel 20:12. My Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctify them. And I think just having that and knowing and having that peace, knowing that, yeah, I'm going to mess up sometimes, but knowing that I'm still doing the feast and I'm doing everything I can to try to do them right, I think that's the most important aspect. Not so much getting it all perfectly right, because you'll learn more as you study it more, and you'll get... And of course, we'll be corrected when he shows up and corrects us all and sets everything right back in order. So I'm not too concerned about being perfect, but doing the feast is just... It's that step saying, I'm yours, I'm willing to do it, and I want to do what you want me to do, which is what you stated in the beginning in your word, which this word, the Old Testament, is Yehoshua. This is him. This is his life, all about him. So, that's pretty much what I had, girl. I don't know if you want to add to anything, but... So I lost Elena. accidentally hit the wrong button and she could have left the meeting. But so I'm just going to quickly wrap this up. She wanted me to put this up here, though. So the actual definition of lamentation. It is an expression of sorrow, mourning, or regret. An act or instance of lamenting. So when we look at the book of Lamentations, that's essentially what that is. He's expressing the sorrow, which we talked about what the sorrow is. Like they went and marked those who were sorrowful for the things in the world. So yeah, it's not unusual to go through depression. If anything, it's expected. It is expected that if you follow the ways of Yehoshua, you will be treated as Yehoshua was treated. Did he help people and lead people to freedom? Sure. But majority of the world, we know how he treated. We know how they treated him. So that's how they treated anyone who spoke out about the truth. All of these prophets. So, and of course, a lot of these people lost family members as well. Like, it's part of the path, and it's definitely a hard path. It's the narrow path. It's not the easy one to go down for sure. And there's going to be a lot that comes. There's a lot of attacks that come after the people that try to follow Yehova. But if you follow him, if you surrender, if you follow these feasts, you follow the commandments, the things that he spoke to us that were forever, then he is going to recognize you as his child and he's going to protect you. It's not going to be easy, but he will protect you. So we just wanted to kind of cover some of these wildernesses. We want to look over the different wildernesses at some point, but we would like to encourage you to look at the different wildernesses and kind of see the different lessons that can be learned in all the places that they went with Moses while they were journeying. And then, of course, to go over some of these guys as like, yeah, the book of Lamentations, go look at the way that they mourned. So I guess it's encouraging you that if you're feeling mourning and depression, maybe, yeah, recognize that depression and that sorrow is actually something that marks you. It's something that makes you special. If you can mourn at the terrible things that are going on, if you can be sad about that says a lot about you. So hopefully that encourages you a little bit that you have a good heart. If you're doing that, then you have a good heart. So, but that's pretty much just what we wanted to do this week, because everybody's going through the wilderness. We're all doing it. We're not all going to succeed. We're not perfect. We're going to mess up. There's going to be hard times, but definitely go through, read some of these books that we went over, some of these verses, and find some encouragement in some of the ways that they handled them in the Bible, because at that time they went through worse. They went through worse than us, so I think we could definitely learn a lot from them, and we will be coming up upon a lot of difficult times, so we're going to need as much of this as we can get. Let's learn from them rather than learn the hard way, hopefully. Most will learn the hard way, but that's okay. But just want to encourage you guys, definitely look up, trust this guy. Your hope is in what's coming, because what's coming is our redemption. So I love you guys, and I know Elena loves you. I lost her, but we love you guys. And obviously, if you guys need to reach out to us, feel free to do that. We can always set up meetings with people that want to talk, and Elena and I do it quite often anyways. So, but anyway, love you guys. Peace out.